This Duke. If we're not careful, he'll undo all the dame's hard work.
Oh, Clive. What am I to do? My wards and I may soon be without a home.
What's happened?
The High Cardinal has descended from his lofty throne and taken up residence here in Northreach.
The High Cardinal?
Leader of the Council of Elders, second only to his Radiance at the head of the Imperial government. Not that any of those things still exist. Now he goes by his noble title, the Duke of Oriflamme.
And what does he want with Northreach?
He wants to transform it into a military stronghold, a foundation upon which to build a new Sambrec. He's already secured the support of the various army remnants, with promises that they shall be afforded the respect they deserve in his empire. One built on the confiscated property of the people.
He would rob the populace to pay for it.
Believe me, I have used every means of persuasion to discourage him from this folly. But for whatever reason, he will not listen to me.
What does Captain Philippe make of this? When the town was under attack, it was him the soldiers rallied around. Couldn't he use that influence again?
How? By speaking out against one of the most powerful men in Sambrec. A man whose stated aim is to revive the empire Philippe's comrades swore to serve, and to improve the soldiers' lot within it. The captain can offer them a regular supply of gruel, and an occasional trip to the Vale to help them forget the terrors they face each day. The Duke offers them a vision of strength and safety. No. Any attempt to incite mutiny would cost Philippe the support of his men, if it did not cost him his life. But given the mood around town, mutiny may yet be unavoidable. The people have little appetite for further deprivation, least of all when it serves only to elevate others.
And who could blame them?
Clive, would you appeal to the Duke on my behalf? For your services to Northreach, you have the respect of the soldiers, and they will take you to His Eminence if you ask them. And unlike Philippe, no bonds of loyalty prevent you from speaking your mind to the man. Well, will you try? You could hardly fare any worse than I did.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you, Clive.
Tell me then, where will I find this Duke of Oriflamme? In the garrison?
Overseeing the troops, yes.
All right. Wish me luck. I may have met this Duke before, at the Remembrance ceremony. Let's hope I didn't make a strong impression.
We already have a leader in the Dame.
Halt! Oh, sorry about that. You're the Dame's man, aren't you? You got some business with the captain?
No, actually. With the Duke. I was hoping I might be able to speak with him.
We're under orders not to let any civilians pass. But you should be all right. His Eminence has heard all about you and your heroics. Wait here. I'll go and ask.
So, you are the sellsword who lent his aid to the garrison. The Empire owes you a debt, and I shall see it repaid. But tell me, is it wealth that you seek, or favor?
Neither, Your Eminence. I thought only to inquire about your plan to turn Northreach into a stronghold.
Ah, I see. You are worried the expanded garrison will render your services redundant. Yet you needn't be. A proud fighting man like yourself shall always have a place here. Pride of place, in fact. For too long has the contribution of the noble soldier been under-reckoned. But no more. For it is they who shall see the Holy Empire rebuilt, beginning right here in Northreach.
Why here, Your Eminence?
The town has been fortunate enough to escape largely unscathed from the recent troubles. Her defenses are sound, and her garrison well prepared. Which is more than can be said for Oriflamme or Twinside. The Empire wants for a capital, and I believe Northreach to be the perfect place. With Caer Norvent as her citadel. Once we have seen to the refortification of both the town and the castle, we need only build a wall around both to create a city that would be the envy of the twins. Plans are already underway for the construction. Soon enough, these thralls shall learn that they are no match for the might of Sanbreque.
I fear you underestimate how dangerous these creatures are, Your Eminence. Should they return in force, you will need all the people of Northreach to come together in defense of the town. Something they may be loath to do if they've been deprived of their worldly goods.
The people will do as their leaders command. If Sanbreque is to be rebuilt, she will require a functioning government. One whose authority is beyond question. That is why this levy is necessary. So that any man who wishes to join the army might do so and be fed, outfitted, and paid as befits a defender of the Empire. And yet there are those who persist in peddling the treasonous lie that I seek to steal from the people and drive them from their homes.
I suspect they're afraid of losing what little they have left.
Precisely. The common folk have little and less, and you mean to deprive them of even that. You would sow the seeds of your new empire in your own salted earth.
Sabine, we have discussed this.
Yes, and I told you then how putting the empire before her citizens would lead only to revolt.
Without an empire, there are no citizens.
And in yours, there will be only beggars. Is that what Griga wills for her people?
Do not take her name in vain, Sabine.
I'll come back later. A citizens' revolt. I wonder what the people really think of the Duke's plan. It wouldn't hurt to ask them, I suppose. Let's begin with those on the other side of the wall.
Was that shouting I heard from the barracks?
That so-called Duke is asking too much.
All right there. What is it you're after, sir?
Just your opinion, actually. I wondered what you thought of the Duke of Oriflamme.
Oh, him. Not much. None of us traders do. It's thanks to nobles like him that we had to set up shop this side of the wall in the first place. Couldn't have the rabble getting any closer to the holy capital, could they? And now he's trying to drive us out completely, threatening to take everything we got from us if we don't clear off. If the dame said she wanted him run out of town, I'd be straight through that checkpoint, tar bucket in hand.
What do you think? Lying under a pile of rubble in Twinside.
A question, if you don't mind. What do you think of the Duke of Oriflamme?
Don't get me started. You build a life for yourself somewhere, earning for some noble to turn up and tell you you've got to hand it all over to him. If he thinks his name and his chains give him the right to empty our purses, he's in for a rude awakening. We'll do whatever it takes to keep what's ours. Whatever it takes.
The Dominion's all but done for.
Then it's lucky we stayed here.
I've been hearing a lot of talk about a certain Duke.
Nothing good, I'll wager.
Going around acting like he owns the place. And with hardly a word to the dame. This is her town, not his.
I take it you'd rather she was in charge.
As far as I'm concerned, she still is. Just need his eminence to sod off back to Oriflamme.
Well, the people seem united enough. What about the soldiers? Excuse me, do you have a moment? I wondered if you'd mind sharing your thoughts on the Duke of Oriflamme.
Well, he's made a lot of enemies coming in the way he did. I mean, look around us. You can see the state the realm's in. The traders might not like having the screws put on them, but if they volunteered a few more of their hard-earned gil before things got bad, maybe they wouldn't have to. I think the Duke's got a point when he says rebuilding the Empire's the best way of making sure we're all protected. And if that means people who don't know one end of a sword from another have to make way for those who do, well, that's just how it goes.
One at a time now. There's enough for everyone.
Thank you. We won't forget this.
We don't have much, but the dame had us empty the Vale's larders to see these poor souls fed. Because that is what we do.
You're the one who was talking to His Eminence.
On the dame's behalf, yes. I was trying to persuade him not to take the people's goodwill for granted, but it seems my words fell on deaf ears. What do you think of his plans?
I'm a soldier, mate. He tells me what to do, not the other way round. Listen, I've got nothing but respect for the dame, but I've got a family to look after. That's where my loyalties lie. Not with the town or the Empire, but with my wife and children. If the Duke can get us the men and the equipment we need to fight off those blue-skinned bastards, I don't care how he does it.
Sabine, you are embarrassing me.
I hear the Duke of Oriflamme plans to turn this town into some sort of fortress. Do you think that's a good idea?
It's not for me to say. All I know is that unless the Emperor orders me otherwise, His Eminence's word is law. Look, no one likes all these taxes and tariffs, but empires don't come for free. Once Sanbreque is back on her feet, we'll all reap the benefits.
Let's see what Philippe makes of all this.
Welcome back. Wraiths give you any trouble?
None worth mentioning.
Captain, do you have a moment?
For you? Certainly. Clive, wasn't it? Thank you for last time. How can I help you?
I wanted to ask you about the Duke of Oriflamme. Do you intend to go along with his plan?
But to tell you the truth, I'm in two minds. It's my sworn duty as a captain of the Imperial Army to obey his orders. But I can't say I agree with him.
Philippe, I remember you saying that you became a soldier to protect the people you loved. The dame included.
That's right, I did.
Well, she doesn't agree with the Duke's orders either. She thinks they could tear Northreach apart.
And she's probably right. Thank you, Clive. I know what I need to do now. Protecting the people I love is what matters. Doesn't matter how. Well, duty calls, so I better go. Thanks again.
It seems Philippe wants to do the right thing at least. I expect Isabel will be pleased to hear that, if nothing else.
Ah, Clive. How did you fare? Were you able to speak with the Duke?
I was, but...
So Northreach is to be a fortress after all. Well, it will certainly help to hold back the thralls. There's no denying that. though I doubt it will come as much consolation to the townspeople whose worldly goods are confiscated to pay for it. They deserve to be heard, Clive. To have a say in this new empire the Duke means to build.
Sadly, His Eminence values their obedience more than their opinions, and hopes to reassert the authority of the state. I fear he sees the people as mere pawns on his chessboard to be sacrificed for the greater good. Needless to say, they themselves are of a different opinion, and would rather their destinies were in your hands. The soldiers, meanwhile, are content to follow their orders. And not just because of the Duke's rank, but because of his vision.
I thought as much. Had I sworn to protect Sanbreque, I dare say I too would want nothing more than to see it rise from the ashes. Thank you for trying. But the battle is lost.
I don't know about that.
What happened to your uniform?
I handed it in, along with my resignation. Told the lads I wished them well, but that I owe it to those I love to call it a day.
But why?
Because I realize what really matters to me. Not following some nobleman's orders for the sake of it, but protecting what I care about. Protecting Northreach. I honestly don't know when those monsters will return, but I'm certain they're not finished with us yet. And when they do come back, we need to be ready for them. We need to stand together, all of us. And with you to lead us, milady, I reckon we can do it. It was you who finally convinced me, Clive. There's no point following orders if they go against everything you believe.
Indeed.
All of us, standing together. That has always been Northreach's best hope, and one which still lies within our grasp. We have only to turn our attentions to the true enemy. Thank you, Philippe, for showing me what I must do.
Anything for you, milady. Speaking of standing together, would you mind if I borrowed a few of the lads from the Vale to help keep watch around the town? I fear His Eminence has loftier tasks in mind for the guard.
Not at all. Be my guest.
Wouldn't be the first time.
There may be hope for Northreach yet. Especially with men like you and Philippe to champion our cause. I, for my part, shall continue to work upon the Duke, in the stubborn belief that I might still tempt him into joining hands. But I suspect I shall have to call upon your aid again. Until then, Clive.
Until then. Milady, I come bearing gifts.
Gifts? Whatever is the occasion. Oh my. Clive, you really have outdone yourself.
Otto asked me to give it to you. To settle the Hideaway's debt with the Vale. And to compensate you for the time it took us to do so.
You disappoint me, Clive. I thought you might finally be warming to me. Tell Otto he can keep his baubles. I tried to tell him as much the first time around. The man owes me nothing, nor does the Hideaway. My contribution to the restoration effort was made freely and willingly. It was the least I could do.
You once told me Sid did you a kindness. I'd like to do the same. Please, accept it. For my sake. And for Otto's. For all of us. For all you've done.
It is rather fetching, isn't it? Very well. Otto is lucky to have you, Clive. I doubt anything could ever replace his son. But you and the others at the Hideaway are the closest thing he has to family.
Otto had a son.
Long ago, yes. Sid told me Otto lost him when he was just a boy, and blamed himself for not being able to stop it. I don't know how it happened, whether there was anything he could have done, but it was clear that it weighed heavily on him.
I didn't know.
How could you have? I doubt anyone did. Besides Sid, I've never met a man more keen to bear his sorrows in stoic silence. An ill habit, given that both have always been surrounded by friends desperate to help them.
I'm beginning to see that.
Clive, we weren't expecting you.
I wasn't expecting to be here, but it seems we still owe you a considerable amount of coin for your help with our rebuilding efforts. And though I doubt it's what you were expecting, we were hoping you'd take this as payment.
A star ruby? I can't accept this. It's worth at least twice what you owe me. More if you can find yourself the right buyer.
Think of the difference as interest.
Interest? If word got out I charged that much, no one would ever borrow from me again. Anyway, why are you the one here asking me about this? I'd have expected Otto. Bit much sending the Lord Marquis out to settle your debts, isn't it? The old goat working himself to death again?
Something like that. Most days I think he's the only reason the hideaway's still standing.
Same as always, eh? Back when the place was nothing but a twinkle in the eye of a recently retired Lord Commander, word is he was the first one Sid reached out to. Probably knew that without his strong arm and level head, the idea would never get off the ground. Sid may have been the face of the hideaway, but Otto's always been the backbone. And when Sid passed away, we were all worried that would be the end of it. That Otto would just give up.
His death was hard on everyone. But it must have hit Otto hardest of all.
But he didn't give up, did he? Quite the opposite, in fact. If I recall, he was the one who nominated you as Sid's replacement, and rallied the rest around you. I reckon what he saw in Sid, he saw in you too. And don't we all? Doesn't hurt that you're half as stubborn and twice as handsome, neither. That, and you keep good company.
I suppose I do. Goat will want to know the stones were delivered. If he's still with us. Goat. Still alive, I see. So Lady Karen accepted the ruby.
Ah, about that. I tried my best, but she was just too stubborn to take it. She threw it right back in my face, in fact, and told me I could stick my stupid stone where the sun don't shine.
Karen refused payment.
I hope it wasn't something I said.
I'm sure you were as tactful as ever. Let me see what I can do.
Oh, wonderful. I hope you have better luck than I did.
Oh, don't.
Lady Karen, Goat tells me you weren't happy with our offer. Would you prefer the debt was repaid in coin?
What debt? I don't recall lending any of you lot me hard-earned gil. I may have tossed a talent or two in the hideaway's coffers, but those were donations, and you can hardly call it charity if you go asking for it back.
Of course not. But one good turn deserves another. And our circumstances have changed. Surely you wouldn't shun the gratitude of a pauper who happened to have become a prince.
Oh, so you're a prince now, are you? Fine. But I'm selling it and taking what I'm owed, then you're getting the rest whether you like it or not. Where'd you even get this? A decent trader might nab 1,000 talents for a star ruby. A canny one, meanwhile, might claim it were nicked from the belt of Sid the Outlaw himself and ask twice as much. Might be I already have a buyer in mind.
Might be you even know her. A fine continental maid whose beauty's only eclipsed by a guile in commerce. You wouldn't mind, would you?
Not at all. Just be sure to tell her that it's always a pleasure doing business.
I hear you ended up delivering all 3 stones. Thanks to this lump. I sometimes wonder what I pay you for.
Speaking of which, I still haven't been paid last month's wages.
Oh, so you remember what's owed to you then? Get your ass behind that disc of yours and don't get up before those ledgers are square.
Right away.
I've seen that before.
You have, yeah. Plenty of times. It was the only goblet Sid ever used. Either out of habit, or because the filthy sod couldn't be bothered to find a clean one.
I knew so little about him.
Like most people.
Martha and the Dame both seem to have fond memories of him.
I bet they do.
How long did you know Sid before he...
Before he died. 20 summers, give or take. Back in the day, I was a purser on a trade ship, which is where I met him. He bought passage to... I forget where. And having nothing better to do on the long nights, we set up drinking island rum till the morning bell dragged me back to my duties. Quit my post not long after that, on account of making a fine maiden's belly fat. But me and Sid stayed close, promising we'd one day sail the seas again. That was before fate stepped in and said she was having none of it. The magic woke inside my son soon after his first name day, and there was no hiding his knack.
Couldn't you and your family have...
My family were the ones who summoned the constable, wanted the monster taken away. I couldn't turn my back on him, forget what I felt, and I couldn't for the life of me understand how they could. Luckily, Sid was of the same mind as me. It was him who stood beside me when all I wanted was to tear the whole world down. Him who cried for me when I had no tears left of my own. Him who swore he'd do everything he could to stop it from happening again. And he was true to his word, too. Left the Royal Army once and for all. His ranks, his ribbons, gone. Just like that. Threw away everything he had. All to right a wrong that no one else had the courage to face. I knew then I'd follow that man to the ends of the earth. He was always too clever for his own good, was Sid. Saw the world for what it really was, while the rest of us were content to go along with the lie we were shown. And it can't have been easy, bearing that burden alone. But he didn't let it stop him. He never lost faith in what he believed was right. And that gave us faith in him. Faith he'd steer us true. So I swore to myself that I'd always be right behind him, ready to catch the stubborn sod, if ever he should fall. But I couldn't even do that. Ignore me. Just the ramblings of a tired old man. Leave that lot. I'll tidy it up in a bit.
This is Sid's handwriting. Dear Otto.
I may be drunk, but I wanted you to know this place would be fucked without you. Love you, you grumpy old sod.
This note.
Hmm? What about it?
Sid was right. Without you, we'd all be lost.
He should have bloody well said so then. Just once. Before he went. But then, why would he? Him, or anyone? I'd only have told him to piss off. You're wrong, though. Both of you. It was never just me keeping the hideaway afloat. It was all of us. I just shoved people in the right direction. I barely seem to be able to do that anymore.
Would you rather go at the helm?
Well, maybe I've got a few more years left in me.
I'm going to hold you to that, Otto.
Before you go, Sid would have wanted you to have this.
But that's...
This'll do me just fine. Thanks for the ray of sunshine. I'll see if I can't pay you back.
Already have.
My Lord Marquis, I heard about Eastpool. That some of my fellow Guardians are to build a new home there, both for themselves and for Madame Martha's bearers. Is it true?
It's true. The village is to be rebuilt.
I have many fond memories of Eastpool. When I was a child, we would visit my aunt and uncle often. They would lavish attention upon me as if I were the son they never had. I went to see Aunt Hannah after my uncle passed away, but not nearly as often as I should have.
Oscar, I'd like you to assist Sir Wade in the rebuilding efforts.
But my lord, my training is not yet complete. I couldn't possibly.
I warned you I might not be the easiest of masters, but I'm not as hard-hearted as that. Go. Be with your aunt. Rebuild her home. Is what she would have wanted.
Yes, my lord. Thank you, my lord.
What do you recommend?
Blasted book.
A shirt. This is a tavern, not a brothel.
Here, you put me in this situation, Clive. You can bloody well get me out of it. I need a hand with a recipe.
Are you sure it's me you're looking for? I'm not much of a cook.
I'm all the cook will be needing, thank you very much.
What I want from you is a little of your time, right? Oh, and perhaps your sword. You remember Ivan's stew, right? Well, despite the look of the thing, and that awful stench, people wolf it down. So I thought I'd try making one of these supposed masterpieces myself. Had a peek at the book and gave it a go, but, well...
It wasn't as straightforward as you'd hoped. Ivan had the same problem.
Yeah, but this is my blooming kitchen, and I will not be outdone. So if you don't want to be seen as playing favourites, I suggest you lend me a hand.
I've never been one to play favourites, Molly. And I would be only too happy to lend you a hand. So, what's on the menu this time?
A fried mortress of skyworm. That's one heck of a name, innit? Recipe seemed easy enough to an old hand like myself. Thought I'd followed it to a T. Only, turns out skyworm livers and drake's mint are not what I thought they were. At least I hope they're not, given the rancid mess they made.
Ivan said the recipes in the culinary pilgrimage date back centuries. Who's to say the ingredients even exist anymore?
Wow. That's a question for a scholar, wouldn't you say? Perhaps you know of one? Kindly old fella who haunts the shelves, maybe?
Fine. I'll go and speak to Harpocrates. Perhaps he'll know something. And if he does, I'll see if I can find your ingredients for you.
You do that. Lest we forget, you've got a reputation to uphold.
Lawsman Harpocrates. I've come to pick your brain if you don't mind. It's about the book you lent Ivan.
Ah, Valisthea, a culinary pilgrimage, a classic. One of my favorites, in fact. The young man did a wonderful job with the Chance's stew. I do hope we shall be able to sample more such marvels in due course.
That's actually why I'm here. I don't suppose you know where I might find skyworm livers and drake's mint.
Ah, so the fabled Sanbrequois delicacy is next on the menu. Delightful. The descriptions of fried mortress never failed to make my mouth water. Now, skyworm is a somewhat antiquated name for the wyvern, their ground livers being the paste from which the mortress is made.
Dragon livers. How very Sanbrequois.
One would have thought the disciples of Bahamut would have a touch more reverence for their icon's brethren, but apparently not. I believe the specific dragon the recipe demands is the blueback wyvern, said to be the very color of the sea beside which it resides.
So we know where to look for our liver. But what about the drake's mint?
Saint's bonnet in contemporary parlance, a herb which grows along the North Reach coast. I gather that one can locate the cheerful yellow flowers by their heady scent alone, so I'm sure you'll have no trouble finding them. I may add that people once believed game was best served with the flora that sustained it in life, in which regard fried mortress of skyworm is undoubtedly a typical dish of the time.
Meaning that if I find one, I find the other. To Northreach, then.
Best of luck, Clive. And do save me a bite once the dish is complete.
Harpocrates said I should be able to find what I'm looking for somewhere nearby. Bright blue dragons and bright yellow flowers. Should be easy enough to spot. You deserve a rest. This must be our wyvern. All right. Let's get this over with. That's the wyvern's liver. Now I just need to find the herbs. Bright yellow with a heady scent. I think that's everything Molly needs to resurrect her recipe. Better head back.
A share. So, did you have that word with Tomes then?
I did, and he was as helpful as ever. He told me exactly where to look, in fact.
And what precisely will I be cooking up? Or is it better not to know?
Blueback wyvern liver. And, a herb known as Saint's Bonnet.
Ah, wyvern livers, was it? Well, at least it weren't actual worms, I suppose. Now then, you stay right where you are. I've got some cooking to do. Let's hope these grand old chefs of yore knew what they were on about. And here we have it. Fried mortress of skyworm. Ivan's offered to make sure it's fit for consumption. Well, I say offered. He as good as begged.
And rightly so. Is there any higher honor than partaking in a slice of culinary history?
So, not fit for consumption then?
What witchery is this? The crackle of the crust gives way to an almost violent richness. Yet, it is the piquant kiss of the saint's bonnet that tames this savage dish. It is a tour de force, a force of nature even, a maelstrom of flavor and sensation, a graceful beast emerging from centuries of slumber.
I think he likes it.
Well, I can't quite tell with all that nonsense he's talking. But I reckon you might be right. It was decent then, I take it.
Decent? It's remarkable. And I defy any man to say a word to the contrary. Sid, might I suggest that you command a party of your finest men and women to procure a dozen blueback wyverns forthwith?
I'll give it some thought.
Sid, perhaps you can help me solve a mystery.
I can certainly try. Who's gone missing this time?
It's not who, but what. Mid-scales, the ones she made for her workshop. I borrowed them to teach the little ones about weight, and shortly after the lesson, well, they vanished. My first thought was that they'd taken them off somewhere to play, but when I asked, they swore they had nothing to do with their having disappeared. Which almost certainly means they had everything to do with it.
Perhaps a visit from Sid will jog their memories.
I think it just might. Thank you. I don't like to imagine that my pupils would lie to me. But if they have, I'll have no choice but to discipline them accordingly. They were in the atrium when I last saw them, as always.
What do you reckon we should do? I say we should just tell Miss Shirley.
You'll get us all straight. I'm telling you, I can fix them.
Sid!
Hard at your studies, I see. And what is that? It's not a set of scales, is it?
No. Of course it isn't.
Well, not anymore, it's not. Oh!
And just how long hasn't it been one?
We're sorry.
But we didn't break them. We dismembered them.
Just like Miss Mididol showed us.
Miss Mididol? And why would she have you dismembering her creations?
Because that's the only way to become a ninja-neer.
Miss Mididol said, the best way to see how something works is to take it apart and put it back together again.
Well then, your work is already half done. Carry on.
About that.
The taking apart was easy enough, but it's the putting back we can't work out.
Speak for yourself. The heavy thing goes at the bottom. Then...
You three need to learn to take responsibility for your actions. So let's have a look at these parts with fresh eyes, shall we? All right. Everything here was once part of Miss Mididol's scales. Every piece has its own role to play, and each is just as important as the others. If even one of them is missing, the scales won't work. So let's think about what those roles might be. You already know one of the pieces, the body. Its role is to support everything else. But what of the others? This is called the arm. Why do you suppose that is? It doesn't look much like an arm.
You're right. It looks more like a wing. Like a chocobo wing!
You've ridden a chocobo before, haven't you, Sid? Will you teach me to ride one day?
I'll think about it. Now, what do arms do?
Hold things. So wait, maybe this arm holds things too?
Good thinking. You're on the right track. These round parts are called the pans. You all know what a pan is, don't you?
I do. Molly uses them in the kitchens to fry bangers. But these aren't for frying bangers, you idiot. They're for weighing stuff. But what if I wanted to weigh goods? I don't think he'd fit on that little thing.
Probably not.
What are the chains for? Holding the pans up?
Well spotted. Which means something must hold the chains up in turn. This tiny piece is what's called a cogwheel, or gear. Have you ever seen one before?
I have. Miss Mididol's dungeon is full of them. Most are on the floor.
She puts them in all her inventions. They spin round and round and round and round and...
That's right. They're very useful when you want to make things move. Do you remember if there was anything on the scales that moved?
I remember the arm moved when I tried weighing an apple. And then somebody ate it.
Not my fault. You shouldn't have tried weighing it before lunch.
You know what part's supposed to move and how it's supposed to move. So, let's put the pieces together first, see what doesn't move, and then stick the cogwheel to that.
Not a bad idea. You see? It's not so difficult. So, now that we've taken stock of the parts and learned what they do, what do you think?
I think we've got it.
Then here's what we'll do. You tell me what goes where, and I'll put the scales together.
Well, obviously you need to start with the body. All the other pieces fit onto it, don't they?
And the arms go on the body, just like real arms. Or wings, if you're a chocobo. And then the arms hold the pans by the chains.
Very good. Let's see if that works. Ah, all finished.
Yes! We did it!
Well, with Sid's help.
Oh, I just put the pieces together. It was you three engineers who showed me how.
That's right. We're Miss Mididol's hairs.
Her hairs?
Yeah, hairs for the future. She's showing us her secrets now, so we can help out the hideaway when we're older.
What do you think, Sid? Are we almost ready?
With a little more help from Miss Mididol and Miss Shirley, I'd say it won't be long at all.
You hear that? It won't be long.
Until then, though, Do try to be honest with Miss Shirley.
Hey, look! We never used the cogwheel.
You don't think Sid forgot about it, do you?
Well, did you solve the mystery?
It was as you thought. The children had the scales, or the parts of them at least. They dismantled them to see how they worked.
Oh, no, Mid will have my head.
Thankfully she won't. This might even have been her idea. Although I was the one who ended up teaching the lesson.
I'm so sorry, Sid. I know how busy you are. I shall see that the children are properly punished.
Please, there's no need. Mid seems to have taken the three of them under her wing. She's even calling them her heirs. She'd have them follow in her footsteps. And her father's.
I see. Sid, do you know why Mid has been spending so much time at the hideaway of late?
She told me it was because her studies have been interrupted by events in Canva. Is that not true?
No, it isn't. The university offered her a commission. In exchange for full tuition, room and board, they asked her to oversee the design of several new war engines. To anyone else it would be an opportunity, but to Mid, who lost both her parents to war, it was a bitter pill. One she was none too keen to swallow. But that should come as no surprise. She's only ever cared about bringing people hope. The very last thing war can be said to do.
Which explains her heirs. She's working to give them a better life. And so should I. What's the odd engineering lesson?
Oh, you've given them far more than that. And I'm sure they're very grateful.
Happy nuts and all.
What am I gonna do? But no more.
Is everything all right, Goots? You seem more discomposed than usual.
Oh, I don't know what that means, but I'm in a bit of a muddle. Oh, I think Nan might be in trouble and she's...
It's all right. You can tell me.
There was a trader came by. One of our usuals, like. Said he'd heard some rotten rumours about her down Dallymill Way. Folk are saying she's been selling to bandits and cutthroats and that. I mean, she's fond of a chance to make a coin or two, aye, but she'd never do business with baddies. Especially not the kind who go hurting people who haven't done out. I wanted to ask her about it myself, but I'm scared she'll give us a tongue lashing. She'd never give your tongue a lashing, though, would she?
Don't worry. I'll speak to her.
Oh, thanks, Clive. You'll let me know what she says, won't you?
Of course. I'm sure it's all just a misunderstanding. Lady Karen, how's business?
Not nearly as foul as the weather.
You're doing good trade then? Both in and out of the hideaway?
Can't complain. Wait, what exactly are you getting at? Not once in 5 long years do you pay my affairs half a care, but here you are today, raking me over the coals like a bloody popoto?
Just asking. Out of interest. All right. I'm here because I was told that certain rumors have been circulating. About you selling weapons to brigands.
Oh, are you? And who was it who knows me so well as to tell tales of my evil exploits?
I didn't exactly hear firsthand. All I know is that someone in Dalimil has been spreading word to that effect.
And what? You believe it? You think I'm profiting off the blood of innocents, do you? Look, I've done things I'm not proud of. Might be there were a time when I turned a blind eye to the wretchedness of the world so I could line my pocket. But that woman is no more. And you'd know that if you'd ever paid the slightest bit of notice.
You're right, Lady Karen. I apologize. It was wrong of me to doubt you.
No, it was. Now, I reckon you've got better things to do than pointing your do-gooding finger at a poor old woman.
Of course. Good day.
The stew's awfully thin,
I spoke with Lady Karen.
What did she say?
That the rumors were unfounded, and that I was a fool for thinking they might hold any truth, along with some other things that made her feelings clear. And while it sounds like she may have done things she regretted in her past, she says those days are behind her.
Oh, well, that's good. I knew Nan wasn't caught up in out bad. But why would people say she was? What did she ever do to them? It's not right.
No, it's not. But people do things for all sorts of reasons. Perhaps we'll never know.
Well, I'm going to find out. That trader, he said they were all talking about her in Dalimil. So that's where I'm going. I'll find someone who'll tell me, you'll see.
Are you sure that's wise? Whoever's spreading these rumors means Karen ill.
Oh, right. But that's why you'll be coming with me, isn't it, Clive?
I suppose it is. It shouldn't be too hard to find goods.
Square.
Gilbert, take this crystal.
Could be I know something more. What's it worth to you?
I've got 100 gil and a chocobo feather. Eh? Clive, listen! I found someone who says he's heard the rumors about Nan.
Have you?
Go on. Tell him what you told me.
All right. It's like I said. A wizened old crone by the name of Karen's been selling steel to whoever'll pay her price, be they knight or knave. Says the more swords and spears she puts in people's hands, the more war they'll wage. And the more war being waged, the more call for swords and spears. And who will they all turn to keep them in steel? Why, the good Reaper herself.
And you've seen this Reaper at work?
Aye, it just so happens I have. You'll find her right here plying her trade most days.
Here in Dalimil? Where exactly?
She has a stall here in the market, but if you're not the patient type, you can probably find her at her storehouse on the edge of town. But it'd be a bolder man than me that braved that particular nest of vipers. Feeling bold, traveler? I hope so, for your sake. Now, if that's all, I have places to be.
Sorry to have kept you.
You don't think Nan's the Reaper, do you?
Not unless she's discovered the secret of how to be in two places at once.
Eh? What do you mean?
Lady Karen hasn't left the hideaway in weeks. So who has been running this stall he spoke of?
Good question. I'll go and have a look.
And I'll visit this storehouse on the edge of town.
All right, but be careful, Clive.
You too, Goots. Time to brave the Viper's Nest.
Just you, is it? Thought I might have laid it on a bit thick.
It was a fairly unconvincing tale. So, what now?
That's up to you. Die a slow death, or a quick one. Boys, he's all yours. But that sword is mine.
Leave now, and we can pretend this didn't happen.
Oh, you've done it now.
Go on. Tell me what I've done.
When the Borgwyn finds out you've killed his men, he'll have your head. He only wanted that bull of a manservant, the dim one always clinging to Karen's skirts. You weren't even supposed to be here. Who the hell are you anyway?
What were you going to do to him?
The Borgwyn wanted him to get to Karen. I was only supposed to point the lamp in the right direction once he arrived in Dalamil. But then you turned up. Well, go on then. If you're going to end me, end me.
You're not worth the effort. Now be gone, before I change my mind.
Fucking coward!
I need to find Goots. Right now.
Get your filthy paws off me, you naughty-pated lout!
Stop calling me names! And stop spreading them horrible lies about Nan!
Well, that will be easy enough. For they are not lies. Every last word is true. And she must pay for her crimes in blood.
Blood?
Goot, are you all right?
He's gonna kill Nan! He said she had to pay in blood!
After what she did, it is only right. She ruined my life and the lives of countless others. That loathsome harpy's very existence is a crime, and I will not allow it to continue. Goots, was it? I have no quarrel with you. Only with your employer. Run along now. You need not pay for her sins.
No.
No?
I don't care what she did. I won't let you hurt Nan. Promise me you won't hurt her, or I'll kill you myself!
Goots, no.
Enough, all of you!
How did you?
You're a sight less clever than you think you are, the pair of you. Did you think I wouldn't notice the two of you slinking off together? Well, the whole thing got me thinking, who in Dalimil might bear me a grudge? And a certain snivelling shit I ran afoul of in my fairy years came to mind. Though it was just Bogan back then, wasn't it? I thought the years might have taught you some sense, but I see you're the same pants-pissing craven you've always been. What was it we called you? Wet legs?
You bitch! Everything that happened, it was all your fault! And now you'll finally pay for what you did to me!
Gooch, you...
If you want a piece of Nan, you'll have to go through me.
Fuck!
You great galoot! Out of the way, I can handle this myself. So, wet legs, you remember what you told me when we last met? An eye for an eye. Wise words, Sam. Wise words. And now, it's time to collect. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Is he...
Dead? No. But I reckon he wishes he was. It's not easy going through life one eye short of a pair. After all, I should know.
You don't mean...
Oh, don't tell me you didn't notice. Lost it to old Wet Legs back when we were working the same routes. Said I'd stolen from his strongbox. I'd done nothing of the sort, mind. But that didn't stop him taking his little revenge. So I took some of my own. Sorry, lost everything. His coin, his clients. Always knew he'd be back one day to claim his due. But he crossed a line dragging poor Goots into this. He didn't hurt you, did he?
No, Nan. Still got all my arms, see? Legs too. But what if he comes back again?
What if he does? First we take the other eye, then we work our way down. He'll learn his lesson soon enough. But something tells me the Wet Legs has learned it already. Right. Let's get you back to the hideaway. You've attracted quite enough attention already. Ta-ra, Clive.
Remind me never to cross you, Karen.
Don't tell me we've run out of pep.
Nothing like a dish of cold vengeance to foul the gut.
I'm sorry, Nan. I didn't mean to make things worse. I just thought I had to protect you. Like you've protected me.
Aye, well, someone had to. Your parents certainly didn't give a whit for your well-being. Reckon the both of us would be worse off if I'd not taken you on. You've always been me right eye, Goots. And I'd have you stay that way. So don't you dare go looking for trouble again.
Well, I will. If you ever need help, I'll do it again and again, and you can't stop me.
Why, you big lump. Fine. Play the hero if it makes you happy.
Thanks, Nan. I won't let you down.
There's nothing he wouldn't do for you.
That's as maybe. But if he's ever to make his own way in life, he'll need to start looking out for himself as well. Till then, he'll need people to watch his back, just like you did in Dalimil. Don't think I didn't appreciate that.
Of course. His family.
Stop it. You make me one good eye, mister. I don't go thinking that'll do you any favours. A potion today'll cost you the same as it did yesterday.